Hey, how's it going? I I have some cards, I'm sorry, I have a card. I just have one. There may be more. I don't know. I don't know yet. Um, and I wrote a piece. And I'm gonna link it. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna read it, but I wanted to talk about things first because I mean, to do with what I wrote, because I have like so many things sort of rotating in my brain, like what to talk about. Here's something to talk about. Okay, sorry, I'm distracted. Is this on backwards? Nope. I don't know why it's. Well, I have another shirt on underneath. That might be the problem. Am I done? No. Whatever. I guess it's just going to be a wrinkle factory. What is happening with my sleeve? Calm down. So, yeah. Normally, on Wednesday, I would have done a video. And I didn't because, maybe I will read it. But I did not do the video because I am probably going to be making some changes to my online presence generally. And I guess I decided to start on Wednesday. But really, I just didn't firm up anything in my mind to talk about, and I just didn't feel like coming on cold with nothing. I mean, I completely could have. I don't know, I just didn't feel like it. So, sorry. It's not you, it's me. And I almost didn't do it today, too. Like, the time just kept sliding by and sliding by. But the reason why I am here is because I feel like some things are more important than anything else, and they might not seem that way when there's so much everything else so crazy, like right now. And so, I just lost my track of thought. Well, I'm concerned about messages that I'm seeing from like the other side and from like the animal kingdom, and my own concerns of sort of humanity moving slowly into the next stage that we should be, I guess, naturally as humans evolving into. And some of us, you know, I've talked about this before, some of us have like gone native and completely forgotten that this is not our real life. This is a diversion from our normal lives while we're attending to tasks here, various pursuits and opportunities. And I feel like, and I have felt like for a long time, we will get nowhere and nothing will get better until we start relating better to each other individually. Like, I personally am not going to be able, I don't think, to stop any of the wars currently happening that I would rather not be, and I'm sure the people on the ground where they're happening would be much more passionate about it, but I don't think they want it either. This one right now, though, I feel like, well, it's not one, for one thing, and as an American, I'm speaking of the American-Israeli war, but it's like so confusing, because if we're attached to them, does that mean we're attached to, like, to the best of my knowledge, we're just messing with Iran. Like, are we also taking on, like, Israel's issues or whatever is happening there? Like, are we well, we did Iran for them, I feel like, so it's probably that, yeah, we probably got suckered into doing more, and we shouldn't, I don't think, be. I would, you know what I think? I think we should, like, get out of doing these wars, like, my God, it's been, like, millennia. Can we learn how to do it a different way that's not so hateful and destructive and all of the... God, I just feel like we're behind on, like, moving away from even that kind of interface with each other. and I'm painfully aware that we're, like, a big part of the problem now and a lot of times, because, you know, they don't tell us. We're not generally told what our military or even our corporations are up to in other countries. But if you follow more news than, like, your local or national news, then you'll learn that our tentacles have been everywhere. And I'm talking tentacles, so I'm not talking good touchy-feely. I'm talking, like, black squid behavior, like, not, you know, and then we're not honest about a lot of stuff, and this pains me. But, you know, this is why I'm one of those people that you will never have heard me say, this is the greatest country in the world. And you know what? Haven't been to all of the places in this country to make an assessment of how great they are or not. I do have history to work with. If I can't say here, I really have no clue about how we compare to the rest of the world. That's just a dumb statement, and it just pisses me off every time I hear it, I guess you could say. And then the other one that drives me insane is, you know, the people just, like, bursting at the seams to be patriotic. I'm wondering how they define that, and if they're patriotic to this country, if they're so patriotic, then can we please stop destroying it? Can we include love of country with the patriotism, and not, like, whatever the thing is we are doing that feels like hate and destruction? Like, what are we doing? Why are we doing that? Can we not see? Can we not, like, map out the progression of what's going to happen if we continue on a certain path of destruction? I mean, hello, what is going on with us? Are we going to figure it out before everything's all screwed up? So, circling back to my point of, I personally can't, like, change those big matters. However, collectively, we can, and we don't even really have to speak to each other or, you know, do all of those things that, like, the FBI hates, which is congregate and talk to each other and make a plan. You know, they think everything is going to result in a bomb or something, and it's like, no, some of us are really working to just use our words, you know? That's you people always jumping the gun about a gun. Like, seriously, like, touch grass and then smoke some. You really have a problem if you think everything needs to be approached that way. Oh my God, I just realized the number on this card is 44, which adds up to 8, and so let me just continue with what I was babbling about. I'll get back to it. So, I was circling back around to the idea that, I think that's what I was circling back to, but let me just talk about this anyway. The idea that if we all decide that we don't want this thing to happen, or person in the position or whatever it is, we don't even have to always just make it about a voting thing. There's both boycotting and striking. Like, we have those arrows in our quiver, you know, like, we have those we have those there for when we feel ready to use them, but I really think we should consider that more seriously. I feel a little anxiety, and I also feel just the tiniest bit like we should all be out of our houses with our pitchforks and torches. But I feel like that's what we've done in the past, and it has not been effective. It has not achieved what I have wanted, which was basically peace on earth and universal health care. But no, I mean, seriously, can we all get along? Because if we're all getting along, I feel like that kind of screws up a bunch of plans that really are not to our benefit very much, and also require our participation in our self-destruction. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I didn't sign up for that. I don't want to go there. Like, I choose life. I choose life. I'm disappointed to learn that in our hierarchy, the higher-uppers, if you haven't noticed, it's not just I think they don't like us or they hate us. They are like taking steps, I guess, and the long game play as far as their plans with us. Because, oh yes, these people who are strangers to us have plans for us. And it's like, you what now? That sounds ominous, and it should, because it is. What I've been finding out is a lot of the people we've been calling the wealthy people the Epstein class. I mean the people who direct their movements. They're shot callers, because there are some people even more disgusting and rich than these people that are like Elon Musking and Peter Thieling around, or whatever. That group, like the tech bros, and got that one guy from Palantir, the evil Taika Waititi. I do not like that guy. Oh, man, I'm having to bite my tongue and my brain tongue because I don't even want to let myself think the way he does about us. Because what my point is about all of those people is they have a lot of plans for eliminating us, and they could do it quickly, I suppose. Or they could like get rid of a bunch of us at once, I suppose. But I think the reason why that hasn't happened, or not in a while, is because others of those people enjoy the long game of torturing us and introducing weird stuff for us to consume and ingest and just be in the general vicinity of. They're gonna hurt us or make us sick or worse, because they just love to talk about depopulation. Like, you think the wars are just about selling, weapons? I used to think it was that. I used to think it was an actual, like, power struggle amongst, like, government leaders and things, but I think it's more transactional than that. And also natural disasters, to the degree that we can control them, I think we are. I mean, I think we've had some people talking about it, some representatives that probably have a little more information about it than I do, but are just not good at communicating that information. And so we mock it, and we don't even know. We don't know if she's right or if she oops. We don't know if anyone that outs this stuff is right or not. But we're out here making assumptions about it and decisions, and it's like, you kind of have to think about. You have to think about all angles. You have to think about, like, it was Marjorie Taylor Greene. You must have figured that out by now. But you could think about, what if she was right? And you could think about, what if she was wrong? Either way, it's a thinker, because why would she say that? Well, I don't think invented anything new. I don't think she invented anything. I'm pretty sure we do have directed energy weapons. We've been talking about weapons being mounted from satellites for many, 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 many years. I'm certain that they're on there. Like, we've had plenty of time to install them, and many sort of missions from space get cut off. So just because we don't have news about them going to put weapons on satellites does not mean they didn't do that. It does not mean it wasn't something that was being done or talked about in one of those times where you're watching a broadcast from space and it just suddenly the audio cuts out, and you're like, why can't I hear what they're saying? Well, you know what? Let me read their lips. Oh no, you took away the picture too. They do that. So why would they do that? It makes you think they're hiding something. What could they be hiding? Just think of how many times in your life, if you're an adult, I'm going to say at least approaching middle age, where you have been witness to inconsistencies in what they tell you, in what happens, and things that have happened where you're just all, why did that happen? Who does that profit? Who profits from that? What was the point of that? You start to realize that you have to look at the picture from a bigger angle. Like, you have to zoom out, so you can see, past the frame. Like, you gotta see what's happening over there where you can't see what my hands are doing. And that's kind of like the government's whole thing. You can't ever see what their hands are doing. And then you have the people out talking to you, and if it seems scripted, dude, trust your feeling. If you feel like stuff is scripted, you can trust yourself. You can go ahead and believe with like 90s level, of correctness that it probably is scripted. Things are so controlled and manipulated and manufactured in our lives. Like, I barely know, like, what I could point out for anyone else is 100% real, other than, like, here, let me pinch myself. Okay, I feel that. See, pinching. I feel that. That's about the only thing I can say in life is 100% what you're actually seeing and hearing. Because there is so much that has been, I guess, deep faked and everything else to muddy the waters and confuse the issue and keep us off balance and keep us afraid. So if you know about all of that, then you can separate yourself and make your very own matrix simulation, little closed gap life box, and do what you would like to do without the influence of fear, guilt, constant ads and constant arguing and constant words said in anger about stuff that people probably don't even know. Why are you so angry? What does it mean? Why is it pissing you off? I don't think we know. Like, even so-called experts. Listen, I've had experiences with doctors, and these guys spend, like, I feel like decades in school. And then, they're like, they come off like they know everything. Like, they are like small gods. And it's like, bro, beyond your training, you know about as much about everything else as I do. You have the same access. Just because you were able to assimilate information and become a doctor does not make you an automatic genius. It doesn't even automatically make you bright and perceptive. Because I'll tell you, and I think they didn't know that I could perceive that this is what was happening, but when they don't know, they reach and they make stuff up. They guess. They don't tell you the truth. So I think we see that with the government, except a lot of times they just totally tell us stuff and we don't hear it for what it is, or we don't hear what they're not saying or see what they're not showing us. And I think those are things that we don't normally consider that we probably should. And they play us against each other. And I think that that's a power that they take from us and use against us, is to pit us against each other, when really, if we were allowed to, enjoy and learn about the power of community, then we know why they don't want. There's a reason they don't want us gathering together and talking to each other. There is a reason. So I'm just saying, it's something to consider when they want so many restrictions. They want to impel so many restrictions upon us and box us into these little tiny spaces. I say, outfox their box, make your own box. And that is kind of where I've come to with, like, the whole idea of coming to terms with who your people that you admired, your entertainers and artists, coming to terms with who those people really are, was kind of messing me up. But it's like I was saying, I don't currently possess the ability to, like, teleport myself somewhere else. I have to be here for now. And I came here to be here at this time during this mishigas because I have a role to play, just like everyone else that's here. But it's good to understand that while you're in it and to not get swept up in the drama and the emotion of life, because there's more going on than that stuff. That's all pretty surface stuff. So while we're here and having times of difficulty, rather than falling into fear that's almost described by the entities making us fearful, we can find joy. Like, we can find joy in the worst situations. We have historically done that as humans. And so, to the degree that we're doing this, like, 100% seriously and it's all real, then yes, we do have roles to play and we should take them seriously while we're here. But the script is not written in stone. We can all choose to make a different choice at any time. We're free to do that. That's that free will. So you just never know what's behind someone's eyes, like what their motivations are. I can just say that we're probably moving to a better place as far as relating to each other, relating with each other, and that is great. That's really good. And why not? We like each other when we don't allow, like, stuff that's we've been conditioned with to ruin things. So if we can get over that kind of thing, wow, we're like 30% of the way toward, like, taking our power back, because separating us and pitting us against each other makes them powerful, not us. So if we do the things that they hate, rather than having to take it all the time, I mean, we can at least go that low, right? If they're going to go low, we don't have to go, we can just go a little bit higher. We don't have to go all the way to the ceiling, because you have to go. This is one time where I made a statement that got taken the wrong way, but this is one time where the wrong way actually applies, and that is meeting this situation and these people in this situation that they put us all in, where they are. Like, I'm not a fan of like fighting fire with fire when it comes to Like, I don't want to do to other people the thing that I hate that gets done to me. Like, I know there's another way to deal with things. But you can't, like, just let it go. You do have to find your footing. We have to find our footing. And if we do what they're doing to us back, then we play into their game against us. And so we have to be asymmetrical, and we don't even have to include them, really, except that, you know, we meet our obligations, you know, like pay our rent, pay our bills, pay our taxes. Like, don't not pay your taxes, because this situation is not going to be forever, and then when it's fixed, you're going to owe money, and you ain't going to want that, so don't not pay your taxes. But really, like, just do what we're obligated to do, what we need, and then we find ways to just help each other, because help from the government and help from authority figures is a thing of the past at this point. We will probably see a renewal of it, but not for a while, because we are like, I don't think we realize as a people that we are like 90% their crap. Like, what we see is controlled by them, what we eat is controlled by them. And when I say them, I mean the people that we don't ever see, whose names we don't know, who direct the people we do see and know, that happen to be the wealthy people. And it's just like, how did it get this way where there were all of these people, and then like a few people get rich, and then everybody else has to do what they say and do? I'm not into that. Are you into that? Like, like, let's not capitulate to that crap. Let's create our own structures and infrastructure and work around them. Like, I watched a couple of videos today about food safety, or they should just change it to food unsafety, because, wow, never eating at McDonald's again. And Subway. Okay, so I've had a Subway tuna sandwich. If that doesn't contain tuna or fish, what the hell did I eat? No more of that. No more of that. Like, I pretty much cook just at home. But it's hard to, like, I've had to really, I'm not necessarily winning the battle against processed food. Well, snack food, I should say. I can pretty much cook and be fine with that. I get tired of it. I want someone else to cook the food, and that's why you like going out to eat. But boy, you can't trust those places. Like, either the ingredients or the staff is, or I don't know. I'm like really disturbed at seeing the inside of the McFlurry machine. I've never gotten one of those, but no one ever cleaned the one that they showed, and it was like a horror dungeon inside that thing. Like, you wanted to throw it away and just get a new one instead of sticking your arm in there. Like, your arm might not come back with everything it went in with. It was bad. But, yeah, and so if one part of the place was like that, the fountain machine where you go get your soda, although I think they give you your drink at McDonald's. I think Jack in the Box, you can go up, and I guess, I don't know. I don't like the other places, so I don't know what they have. It doesn't matter. They're kind of gross, so. But that's the thing. We can, like, out of our houses. It doesn't have to involve government, because nobody's selling anything, right? This is a compassionate situation, compassionate giving, compassionate sharing, or, you know, or just like it needs to be, you know, like where we're being failed, where we used to have coverage and safety nets and systems that function properly. We don't, okay? So we need to move on to the part where we start, as best we can, filling those gaps for each other and creating new infrastructure that actually functions for us in a way that's helpful. And food service to each other could be a way that we do that. It just dawned upon me that I'm talking about people that like live in an apartment or home like I do, and there are so many of us that don't. Although it makes me sad that we had a homeless population here in my little town that's right up next to another little tiny town, and all of the homeless people that were around here have disappeared, and it's ominous because you're like, where'd you put them, and what circumstances you put them in? That I know there's no solutions that have been made, so where did you put those people? How can we help them if we don't even know where they are? And I don't like that they removed the opportunity for us to help them. Like, I just don't like the way the world is trying to turn us. But we're not all gonna do that, and I think if we take care of each other a little bit better and start to inform each other, so that, like, for years we couldn't say anything to each other because of political differences, which is crazy because I don't work for the government, and most likely neither do you, so why are they... don't get me started. So anyway, you see what I'm saying. And I think that the title of my piece is Forgiveness and Other Healing Modalities or something like that, but I think that healing begins with forgiveness, and forgiveness begins with love, and, well, we got a lot of hurdles to get over the hurdles to each other, to a place where we don't fall apart at the idea of showing love for each other and forgiveness. And you might be saying, what do I need to be forgiven for? Well, I don't know. Ask yourself that. But, because that's an important question, I think. And then also, we can forgive other people because really, have they done anything to us that's unforgivable? The strangers? I don't think so. We've been told a lot of things, but I know there have been a lot of things said about black people, and none of them are true of me, so that's a thinker for other people that haven't given it any thought, I would hope. So I also have a card here from the Declarations of Mary Magdalene Death, and I was saying earlier that it's the number 44, and that adds up to 8, which in tarot, and I think also numerology, stands for strength, signifies strength. Okay, so I'll read the card. Oh, we need strength in these times. Sorry, you might be able to read my mind, I don't know, but I thought I should just tell you in case. Okay, so the card reads, For thou that fear Mary Magdalene the Christ, fear the powers of the divine feminine and thy sacred heart. Okay, I could have picked a less convoluted one. So, this speaks on a number of levels. First of all, fearing Mary Magdalene the Christ, we're not talking about fearing some woman that was like Christ's woman. She is the Christ. So what the Christ is a title. It's not a name or a surname. It's a signifier that you have achieved understanding of Christ-like abilities. So that speaks to understanding literally the world that you live in. Like what each component of it represents, and the idea, and this one's really hard to square, to like make into understanding, but everything in our world consists of light and vibration. And because we collectively have agreed, have made a compact for parts of reality, something like this, and even me, is a solid seeming item. And really, if the vibration were to slow, I guess, then if I wanted to, I could sink my hands into this. So what Mary Magdalene knew as a Christ was how to do that. And that's an ability we all have, but it's sort of been like locked inside of us in forgetfulness. But, you know, I have faith that if you keep at it and you're diligent, I'm not saying that you'll be able to vibrate to that degree, but you will increase and improve your abilities in a lot of ways. Like, I think far beyond the ability to sink your hand into a solid object, because it starts getting like real quantum mechanical with that stuff. So that's a power that was buried that Mary Magdalene possessed. And she was also an apostle, and the other apostles were jealous of her, didn't understand why Jesus loved her so much and was always kissing on her. And so I'm not really sure if it was just the fact that she comprehended his teachings that precipitated all of the, what do you call it, public displays of the PDAs. I don't know what precipitated that. Like, it may also just have been a male-female thing. But it could be beyond that, in the sense of, as far as him being the divine masculine, as the divine feminine, she completed him because she understood the message that he was trying to give to everyone else. So I guess it's just like our sort of culture that makes it difficult for me to square the circle that he was only like doing his thing that he came here to do, which was to learn some things in his lifetime and then impart the knowledge. And what he happened to be giving to us was the key to unlock what we don't remember are about ourselves, to unlock abilities that he had, because he didn't come here to be like, okay, these are the things these are the things that I can do with my power, and now you have to worship and fear me. That is not what he was saying. He was saying, these are what I can do. And then with a little instruction, you also not only possess already the ability to do these things, but you will regain the key to unlock them. But, you know, that required study and contemplation and devotion, really. You're not going to make that journey easily, I guess, you know, from forgetfulness to remembering, like, whoa, I'm a super powerful being beyond anything I even considered, because I wasn't allowed to. I wasn't even allowed to know. So now we're allowed to know. Finding our way there, though, that requires a little bit of work, a little bit of effort, but worth it, I think, considering the potential gains. So, if you fear Mary, or someone with the title of Christ, or apostle, then what you're afraid of is something that actually lives within yourself, the true powers of the divine feminine and the sacred heart, both of which are accessible and available to you. I think once you sort of open your mind to the possibilities of what I was saying before, and just the idea that, like, this is attainable to me if I want it, you know? Nothing is free, so don't expect it to be. Expect to put in some work, but it's fulfilling. It is, you gain in a way that you really didn't perceive before, and didn't perceive as something valuable. So, okay, I think I'm done. Thank you and good night.